Nearly 10% of women all around the world develop tissues that grow where they're not supposed to, causing pain and confusion. You could be one of them and not know what exactly is happening inside your body. Hello and welcome to a Newsfirst exclusive, here with me, Vinuji Senaviratna. Today we are bringing our attention towards an important aspect of women's health, which is endometriosis and adenomyosis. And to help us understand this condition better, here with me we have Professor Hemantha Senanayake, the President of the Asian Society of Endometriosis and Adenomyosis. Hello and welcome, Professor.
Thank you for the opportunity, Vinuji.
Alright, Professor, to start off with, what exactly is endometriosis and what is adenomyosis?
Okay, so I think we could start off with what is called the layer in the womb called the endometrium. That is the lining that is present on the inside of the womb. So this layer is hormonally active. It changes with the hormones, and that's what leads at the end of the month. That's menstruation. So these cells are highly specialized, and these should be present only in that layer. So when they are present outside of the womb, it's called endometriosis. And similarly, it's the cousin of endometriosis, as we call it. The adenomyosis is when these cells invade the muscle of the womb, and that is adenomyosis. So basically related conditions with a lot of similarities but a lot of dissimilarities as well.
Right. Now, Professor, we talk about menstruation, but why don't we talk enough about this condition?
Yes, absolutely. We don't talk enough about this condition because it's related to menstruation, because there are a lot of negative connotations in society. Societies about, particularly in the Eastern world or Africa, there's a lot of negativity associated with menstruation, and that's really the main reason, I believe. But then there is a bias against women's diseases. Even if you go to the most advanced countries, when you say, if you look at research funding, there is a bias against women's diseases. So all these conditions, all these situations contribute to our kind of lacking knowledge, and the society lacking knowledge on endometriosis and adenomyosis.
Right, all right. So, Professor, tell us, what are the most common symptoms that women should look out for, and could we detect this early?
Yes, the early detection, I think I will start off there, Vinuji. Early detection is vital, because if you take the disease globally, endometriosis, we have a lot of data from different settings, and generally there is a 7 to 11 year delay before the diagnosis is made from the point of starting the symptoms. So the main symptom is menstrual pain.
Right.
So if I am to elaborate on that, so from the point of view of starting, from the point of starting menstruation, the menstrual pain, we have to accept a certain amount of pain with menstruation. That is acceptable if it's not interfering with your life. You can go to school, you can go to office, you can get about with your daily activities. That's normal. But when it's interfering with your daily activities, if you can't go to school, if you are going to school and staying in the sick room, or you can't go to office, you can't function properly, that's not normal. So from that point, there is almost a decade before the real diagnosis is made. This is a global phenomenon. So people are ignoring severe pain, severe menstrual pain. So that's my message to the public today. We mustn't ignore severe menstrual pain. If it's interfering with your life, there is an underlying condition, get yourself checked. So the problem is societally that we are telling young girls who have severe pain, or women who have severe pain, well, it's a part of being a woman. You have to get used to it. That's really what is leading to the problem, really. So sometimes you go to a doctor, and that may be a person with outdated ideas, and that person might say, when you get married, this will go off, or accept it. That's not right. So my message is that you must not ignore severe menstrual pain.
Right, Professor. Now, do we know what causes endometriosis, or are there any known risk factors that increase a woman's chance of developing it?
Vinuji, before I go there, can I elaborate a little bit more about the symptoms that we were talking about earlier? I think that's important. Right. One I said was that most important symptom is severe menstrual pain. This kind of severe menstrual pain can take different patterns. In some people, and of course typically in endometriosis, the pain begins very much before the menstruation. And sometimes the pain lasts after the menstruation as well. So there are some people who've always had severe pain. They might experience an increase in that pain. Or there might be people who had little pain and then it keeps getting more and more as time goes on. So there are different patterns in this pain, menstrual pain.
Right. Yes.
There is another typical pain that women experience, that is pain during sexual intercourse. Some people go to it develops to such an extent they can't even engage in sexual intercourse. That's something that that's very important for relationships. That's another thing that should not be ignored. Again, there's another aspect, that is difficulty in conceiving. People who have, if somebody has difficulty in conceiving, there is a 50% chance that person could be having endometriosis. So these are conditions we can manage. So it's important, if you have these situations, seek medical advice before delaying it. Another, that's not very common, the pain can be there during passing stools, particularly during menses, because these cells can get deposited in the intestine. So in that situation, the pain is there during the passing stools, particularly during menstruation.
Right. Okay, Professor. Now we talked about the symptoms of this condition. Now, can we again go back to how and what causes this condition?
Yes. Actually, the answer is quite simple. Nobody really knows. We have a suspicion that pollution might be playing a role in this. Say, for example, if you take heavy metals like cadmium, nickel, lithium. Now, these are metals that are used commonly in modern devices. If you take your mobile phones, particularly the previous generation of mobile phones, batteries were lithium nickel. These are both heavy metals, and we know that those metals have what are called estrogenic effects. They act on the body like estrogen. So when they get into the environment and with the pollution, it can cause estrogenic effects in the body. And endometriosis is very much an estrogen dependent disease. That's one thing. But there's another important thing, and that's the genetics. The genetics of a person has an important effect on this. If your mother or your sister has endometriosis, there is a 7 times higher chance that you could be having endometriosis. So if you're having symptoms that we mentioned before, don't delay. Go and see a doctor. That early diagnosis is important, because then the disease has not progressed. A. B is that now earlier, when we used to think about this, the delay in diagnosis of almost 10 years, we used to think of it as just somebody suffering unnecessary pain when the pain could have been managed. But now we know there is what is called a centralization of this pain. So if I take a simple example, if I cut my hand, I get pain from that wound, that is from the periphery, right? So to begin with, in endometriosis, the pain is peripheral. When time goes on, the pain is perceived differently by the central nervous system, and then it leads to a more difficult to manage situation. You need a more specialized management when the pain is what is called centralized.
Right. Now, Professor, Moving on to a very important question when it comes to women, does this condition, endometriosis, impact fertility and the overall quality of life of women if it's left untreated?
Yes, big time. Quality of life is affected big time, particularly if neglected it and the pain has gone to that a point of centralization. There is a major effect on life. It has a definite connection with fertility, and that too can affect the quality of life. So it has a major. In fact, sometimes endometriosis is described as a benign cancer. It doesn't kill you, but it certainly affects you profoundly.
Right. Okay, Professor. And now, is there a cure for endometriosis?
You're asking me some very good questions today. So, again, the simple answer is that unfortunately, sadly, there is no cure for endometriosis. But because it's dependent on estrogen, we know that menopause mitigates the symptoms to a very good extent. There is no cure at the moment. What we can do is to keep the disease suppressed, and there are many medicines for that, and it's very important to keep the disease suppressed as well. Though I'm sure some of the audience is aware that sometimes we treat endometriosis with surgeries. Even then, even after that surgery, we need to be on medications to prevent the disease coming back, because after the surgery, if you leave somebody alone, we know that about 2/3 of them will have a recurrence of the disease within 5 years. So unfortunately, sadly, there is no cure. I really hope that there will be one within the next few years, but we can keep it suppressed.
Right. Now, Professor, there are a lot of myths about taking pills within this society. So how do you think women out there will be opened up and will open up to taking all of these medications?
Yes. If you take the guidelines, which are now, there is a European guideline, an American guideline, Australian guideline, all these guidelines mention the hormonal suppressants as the first line treatment. So the hormonal treatments can include the oral contraceptive pill, progesterone tablets, or even the contraceptive injection that we take on a monthly basis, which is widely available in Sri Lanka. So we can use all those medicines as the first line treatments. So the unfortunate thing is that sometimes the disease starts in young girls, in adolescence. Okay, so sometimes we might diagnose the disease, but the parents might be reluctant to give this child or a girl, adolescent, the hormonal medicines, thinking that in the long term that they could cause other problems. So there is a myth that, say, for example, the contraceptive pill causes cancer. There is no scientific basis for that. In fact, the oral contraceptive pill will reduce the chances of ovarian cancer in a major way. Right. So people are not aware of that. The endometrial cancer as well is reduced by these hormonal medications. So, and also when somebody is prescribed these medications, it's important: are you going to allow this disease to progress, or are you going to suppress it? So it's always good to go with these guidelines, which are international guidelines, which are based on very good scientific data, or are you going to believe the myths and allow the disease to progress?
Right. Now, Professor, after talking about all these myths that we hear in this society, let's also talk about the public awareness seminar that will be happening, and what's the idea behind this seminar, and how can the public also get involved?
So from the 31st of October to the 3rd of November, we are having the Asian Congress on Endometriosis, which is a great honor for us, and we are really very proud to be hosting it in Sri Lanka. We have delegates from 31 countries, and we think there will be about 300 foreign when you add the faculty and the delegates, there will be about 300 people there. We are holding it at the Cinnamon Life, and this is essentially for a highly specialized research, and also the clinical meeting. So it's for specialists.
Right.
But we are also having a public awareness seminar, which is addressed by 4 top people from this area. We have 3 from the USA, 1 from the UK, and for this we have the World Endometriosis Society participating, sending us a delegation, and also the European Endometriosis League having a workshop with us. So we have a laparoscopic surgery workshop, which is the way to treat endometriosis surgically. On the 31st, we have an ultrasound workshop, which is also conducted by some top people in the world. So we have a public seminar as well, and then there is a flyer which with a QR code you can join through that.
All right. So again, going back to this 13th Asian Congress on Endometriosis, Professor, tell us a bit more about the objective behind this Congress.
The objective for me personally, I really want to raise the bar in how we are looking after these 2 diseases in Sri Lanka.
Yes.
So I think that's a great opportunity for us. So we have our colleagues attending this. There is a lot of great response for that. Number 2 is it's a great honor for us, and we are bringing together some of the best researchers in this area. And some of the best researchers in the area are from China, Japan, Taiwan. So they are here. So we have people from the US as well, from Australia. So 31 countries coming together, and we hope that what we discuss here will contribute to the global knowledge. Not only that, it will contribute to the global knowledge because some of the top researchers are from our region, and hopefully we will have a cure for endometriosis.
Yes. Now, Professor, also how do you think and how do you hope that this Congress will help improve endometriosis awareness, diagnosis and treatment both locally and regionally?
Yes, that's why we have come to you, and thanks very much for giving us this opportunity, Energy. And I think public awareness is very, very important, and we are making use of this to create a buzz amongst the public. And so I want to reiterate, don't ignore menstrual pain. The problem is that we have kind of have this misconception that women have to accept pain. It's not something you should be doing. Don't accept severe menstrual pain.
Right. All right, Professor. So before we conclude this program, what is your message to our viewers, especially women, about understanding, managing and not being silent about endometriosis?
There's one thing I forgot to tell you.
Yes.
Always, if you're having menstrual pain, maintain a diary. Say when you had the menstruation, say how much pain you had. Give a score. Give it a score. Give your pain a score. 0 to 10. If 10 is unbearable, 0 is no pain, where would you put this pain? Go to your doctor with that. That's a very powerful tool, the menstrual diary. I would encourage you to do that.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Hemantha Senanayake, the president of the Asian Society of Endometriosis and Adenomyosis, for joining with us here today and for sharing your valuable insights.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
And with that, we wrap up this edition of a News First exclusive here with me, Vinuji Senaviratna. Thank you for watching.